Hey everybody, I just wanted to go over some quick tips and tricks with you all that I received from our buddies at the water department this morning concerning the different types of water shutoff assemblies that we might come across if we're out there the next coming days, shutting off a lot of people's water due to the storm. They told me that there's basically two different types of assemblies that we might come across. And hopefully if we're able to identify them, we can quickly determine how many turns are needed, or what type of turns are needed to turn them off efficiently, and hopefully minimize any accidental damage. They did say that we could do everything right and these things can still break on us. It does happen. If that happens, we'll just forward it to the water department as needed. But let's go over the two types. The first type pictured here is more of the older model of the two. It is less common in Cedar Hill now. Although we may see it in like a larger form factor, maybe in an industrial occupancy, a kind of beefier version of what's shown here. This is just a residential model. This is our classic quarter turn shutoff. All we need to do is make that indicator perpendicular with the water line and it will be completely shut off. It's easily identifiable by a couple different features, one of which is an inline assembly. So it's just it's a straight line from the water main to the occupancy. The other, as you'll see here, is the fact that its lockout rings, if it does have these attached, are only going to be 90 degrees apart. So another quick cheat code for this is if you can line up those two lockout rings, you'll know that you're in the correct position. These types, you can spin them all day long, but you're just going to be turning on and turning off the water repeatedly until we make that valve perpendicular. The second type of water shutoff valve we might come across is the newer model. This one is the most common in our city, and it's also identifiable by a couple things. The first of which, if we're able to see it through all the mud and debris, is the arrow on top of the valve indicator indicating the direction of water flow. The other is the fact that the water supply actually comes from below and takes a 90-degree turn to head towards the residence. You can see the arrows pointed towards the residence here because the water is on, and the lockout rings are 180 degrees apart. So as we take a look at one here, we'll open up the water meter and identify this one. It is going to be the newer model with the arrow visible there as well. You can see as the lockout rings are 180 degrees apart. So these newer ones will require a full half a turn, 180 degrees. The valve will remain parallel to what looks like the water direction, contrary to the older one, which will be perpendicular. But if that arrow is pointing towards the street, then the water is completely shut off and the lockout rings will, of course, be lined up. So that about covers it. Once again, here's a look at the older model that requires only a quarter turn to make that valve indicator perpendicular to the direction of water flow to be completely shut off, as opposed to the newer model, which will require a full 180-degree turn to where that arrow is now pointing away from the house back towards the water main. All right, that's all I got. Y'all be safe out there.